Shut up and sit down.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Tyler Carlston, host of the Mortgage Accelerated podcast, and today we have a very special guest, Nate Allen. So, Nate, why don't you tell me who you are and where do you work? Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening in. My name is Nate D. Allen, as seen on Facebook, and I work for VA Choice Home Mortgage, busting some sweet swag today. But VA Choice Home Mortgage in Virginia Beach, serving the Hampton Roads area in Virginia.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I've heard a lot of good stuff about your company. So, why did you choose to work in the mortgage industry?
Thank you for asking. So for me, years ago, I got my start in sales selling Hondas. If anyone has experience or knows anyone who's worked in the car industry, it's pretty brutal. I had great success early on in that industry. And the one thing about that, though, it's pretty difficult to have any flexibility. So for me, choosing the mortgage industry allowed me to still be able to work as hard as I wanted, but to have a little more flexibility and control over my schedule. And so for me, that was the main reason, which the root behind that was better work-life balance. Having a couple new babies definitely puts things into perspective on that.
Yeah, definitely. I understand you just had a kid.
Oh yeah, just a few days ago. Sweet little Daisy Ray.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's definitely a good field to get into. I mean, you can literally do everything from your house if needed. So it's really, like you said, a good work-life balance.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so just tell me a little bit about yourself, your story. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. I grew up in a little town in Arkansas. I went to high school there. I went to the little college in Russellville and went for a year, dropped out, waited tables, played in a band, joined the Navy. So I became an electronics technician in the Navy, actually stationed here in Norfolk, Virginia. Got out of the Navy, went to Nashville. That's where I got my business degree, and bought a house. I thought I was going to stay there, but that's also where I got my start in sales, where I learned a lot of the skill set that I was able to transfer into the mortgage industry to have success a lot quicker. And so that kind of brings us up to today. So that's a little bit in a nutshell.
So how did you make your way over to Virginia Beach area?
So I moved back here because while I was in Nashville, I reconnected with a lady who's active duty, my wife, and she's got more orders here in Norfolk. So that's what brought me back. So now that we're here and we have some babies, we decided we're probably going to call this home for quite some time.
That's awesome. Yeah, it definitely seemed like a good place. So what was your biggest obstacle when you first got into the mortgage industry?
Great question. So when I first got in, it was an interesting time because I joined a large retail lender, very prominent in this area. Little did I know that within 3 months of my hiring, that 90% of the retail loan officers would make their way to another company or multiple companies. So for me, my biggest obstacle was finding the right mentor and also finding the right learning environment. I would say those two things took me a few months to find, but once I found the right spot, it was really helped speed things up.
So what brought you over to VA Choice?
Great question. So one of the things that brought me over to VA Choice, just because I am a Navy veteran, is I wanted to be able to offer the best rate and services to military and veterans using their VA loan. Also, I kind of see a demand for it in this area. Work in the Hampton Roads area in Virginia, there's a lot of retail lenders. There's a lot of great benefits of retail lenders, but one of the benefits is not always the lowest rate. So I wanted to be able to offer that. So one of the reasons why I chose VA Choice is because, hey, here's a group of brokers, which I went from being a mortgage banker to a mortgage broker, and since I market the heck out of myself and didn't really need the assistance of a corporate marketing team, I felt like it'd be the best fit for me to be able to serve the folks that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where a lot of our interests align. I mean, it's all about helping the veterans get the lowest rate. And when you go in the independent route, that's it's a lot easier to choose from 100 different rates than just being dealt one rate and having to give it to them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the biggest change been that you made since you really just started seeing massive growth in your production?
Great question. So there are two main things that help really expedite my growth curve. The first one is, and I have to give credit where it's due. It took me a few months with the retail lender, but I did find a gentleman by the name of Skip Templeton, who's a 60 million plus producer for a joint venture in Virginia. Just take me under his wing and directly mentored me for 2 months. And just being able to mentor with the top producer and to be able to see firsthand the habits, the processes that have been established over 20 years to get to that level, that was really what kind of gave me this inner confidence. The second piece of that puzzle was joining VA Choice, because as soon as I got into that right environment with the right resources, really aligned with my vision and goals for what I wanted to achieve and how to help others, that was really, those two things really kind of worked together to just expedite my growth. And I also wanted to mention just the amazing team at VA Choice. So supportive. There's 5 of us. We all came from a large retail lender. We're on a mission to break the broker myth and provide exceptional customer service, as well as provide the great rate. And so it's just fun and exciting to be a part of that wave.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely sound like you have a really good mission. So if you could go back and tell yourself something when you first started that now, what would it be?
Great question. So I would say 2 things. I would say, first and foremost, get out there. I would tell myself to go to more open houses, to go to more network events, to have more FaceTime with people in the industry and realtors. Even if you don't know anything, you could just say, hey, you're a loan officer in training, but just being able to establish that FaceTime, to plant those seeds early to build those relationships. So I was able to do that significantly, but if I had done it more, it just would have been even better. And let's see, there was one other thing I was thinking of for if I could go back. Oh, the second thing is I would have told myself, hey, Nate, find where the action is and get there quick. When I joined my company, they didn't have any desk offices left on the main floor with all the loan officers. So I got set up next to a copy machine in the middle of nowhere and, instructed to do my online training. Just kind of that isolation was a little bit bizarre to me. I didn't really know what to expect. And there were also some other things going on that where I didn't have a lot of involvement from leadership for 2-3 months. So if I could go back, I would say, Nate, don't wait for somebody to come and get you. Go find where the action is and get in the middle of it. If there's not a desk available, hey, pull up a chair. Sit on the floor. Just that's what I would tell myself. Just find the action, get in the middle of it, and get that learning going. If you're annoying somebody yet you're trying to learn from, just go find someone else.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a good piece. So if you could give one piece of advice besides like how to grow to someone looking to get into the mortgage industry, what would it be?
Great question. So I'm not the best at advice, but I do like to offer suggestions, which is basically the same thing. So one suggestion I would say for anyone thinking about getting into the mortgage industry is whatever your current job is, I would build a 6-month reserve of all bills and all bills and expenses for 6 months and have that in your savings account. I was told when I got in to expect it to take 2 to 3 years before I earned a decent income. And of course, my mindset is how am I going to expedite that into 6 months, because I don't want to wait 3 years. And so my biggest piece of advice is before you get in, have that savings account. Then you're not acting out of desperation. I think a lot of people try to get into this industry and they don't close many loans a few months. So if they're the sole provider for their family or whatever it is, they get out. But if you allow yourself the time necessary for that growth to happen, without the stress. So 6-month reserve and just go for it. Find a mentor. That's what I tell them.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the path I took when I quit my day job and started my company. I had 6 months savings. I had a mentor, and it made the transition a lot easier. So definitely agree with you there.
Awesome.
So really, what are your goals for the next 12 months? I mean, you've been crushing it the last few months, but what are your goals for the next 12 months?
Yeah, thank you so much for 2019. My total goal is 20 million funded. Um, I love that goal because I know it's possible, but it does make me continue to work and not get lazy. So 20 million funded is my goal for 2019. Having a happy, healthy family, is one of my personal goals, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to have a rolling average of 2+ million per month.
Yeah, really good goal. I mean, it's definitely something that I know you're going to be hitting. So, this is a pretty juicy question. So, if you could change one thing in the mortgage industry, what would it be? Do not hold back. Go on your rant.
Oh man, great question. Well, I, I would really love for there to be a smoother, more streamlined closing process when it comes to all the different parties communicating. I know a lot of people are trying to do different things, but if that was more streamlined, if there was some sort of really effective software that everybody could use instead of a million different systems, I think that'd be great. I know that's not necessarily possible, but especially as a broker, sometimes all the different portals and instructions can be a little confusing sometimes for all the different parties involved. And so, if there was some more of a streamlined way to go through that, I think that'd be great. Just to continue to make it more efficient and more simple for people to understand, and hopefully prevent some of the last second conditions kind of popping up. When everyone's ready to close and something new gets popped in there, and people start pulling their hair out. But that's just kind of something that can happen. So yeah. So ultimately, just continuing to smooth out and streamline the closing process. I think that would be one thing, but I know it's kind of vague, and it's probably what everybody wants.
Yeah, so you just want all your tools under one roof, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm always about, I want the most streamlined, efficient, simple process. Less complications, simple as possible. Make it easy.
Awesome. Yeah. So this takes us to our last question. So what really drives you? What makes you get out of the bed morning to work so hard?
Hey, I really appreciate it. And when you mentioned this question to me, really made me start thinking. And one of the biggest things that drives me is just showing others, inspiring and encouraging others to see what's possible. I didn't go into detail. Maybe on our next podcast, perhaps we could indulge a little more. But my past is filled with some major challenges, personal challenges, addiction, these kind of items. And so coming from that background and being able to have the life that I have today, it's really something that I don't take for granted. And to be able to tap into my potential today and show others what's possible, and to be able to be that living example of, hey, you can do whatever you want. There's no limits. There's the only person that's limiting you is your own mind, and you can break through that and achieve things that you never thought possible. And one of my favorite quotes is, I got about a million of them, but it's, people who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. I love it when somebody tells me you can't do something and then I do it. And what are they going to say? They're going to go, oh, well, yeah, whatever. It's just the way that it is. So also, of course, my big three, God, of course, my relationship to God is huge, and all this stuff about what's possible, what's not possible. My mindset and belief is that with God, all things are possible. Apart from that, I have nothing. Family, and then, just being of service to others, maintaining that mindset.
Yeah, definitely. That's having that determination. That's really a key to success, because without the inner motivation that you give yourself, I mean, there's really not too much, especially in the industry you're in. I mean, if you choose to work from home for a week, there's nobody breathing down your neck to go chase more loans. So having that inner motivation is really a huge key. So, I mean, you definitely had some really good points there.
And I will add one more thing. It's nice to have the income potential in this industry, to know that if you work really hard, you'll get compensated. and just having more options available, with a higher income potential, having more options. If you're going to go on a family vacation, you could go to the local campsite, which is great, or you could go to Europe. It's nice sometimes to have options, and so that's another cool thing that this profession will allow to those who really work for it.
Yeah, 100% agree. So, I mean, that's all the questions, all the time we have today. So, again, I just want to thank you for coming on and talking with me. I'm sure we'll have another episode here in the future. I'm just excited to see your continued growth and just how you absolutely crush it for the next 12 months.
Hey, Tyler, thanks so much. I hope this was worth listening to for those tuning in. Thank you, Tyler. You're exceptional. I love seeing your Facebook and your encouragement and everything that you do. And for all those listening in, thank you so much for sharing a few minutes with us.
All right, everybody. Talk later.
Okay, thanks.